And that's, for me, the band name is what we call a mantra in the United States. It's something that I can look at and remind myself. To me, being real is just keeping your integrity, and your authenticity in a world where it's so easy to be pulled in so many different directions. When I heard Neil Young's song "Walk On" when I was a teenager, and I had just met the drummer of our band, Anthony, at a Neil Young concert in 2008, and it felt he has a song called "Walk On," and the line is, "Some get stoned, some get strange, sooner or later it all gets real." So that is the promise of the real, and I thought, well, that's interesting. Neil's saying everything gets real sooner or later, and I thought, well, that's an interesting promise to make. But it's true, and I what I really love about Neil is that throughout his entire career, he's been true to himself and to his music and to what he believes in terms of his artistic expression, as opposed to some bands that I see that tend to get caught up in trends and that tend to get, every decade they're following the styles instead of staying true to who they are. And so that's kind of where I believe that I'd like my career trajectory to go. I'd like to stay true to who I am and not follow any trends or styles. I'd like to be able to make the music that I want to make, that makes me feel good, that I love forever. And so every time I see my name, the band name, Promise of the Real, it reminds me to do that in a world where it's easy to get distracted.
Do you find it hard to keep real or to be real and not to go astray?
I don't find it hard when I remind myself every day. I see if my name is Promise of the Real, it holds me accountable in saying, okay, well, if the record label or somebody, I've only recently been a part of a record label with Fantasy Records, so that it hasn't been a problem, and they're a wonderful company. But there are many forces in the music industry, even just the tendency to be frustrated that, oh, my type of music isn't selling that much these days, or these types of songs aren't selling. You have to remind yourself that it's not about selling music. It's about making art and making what you feel, and it's about connecting to an audience, a live audience, especially nowadays when selling music is a side note to live shows anyway. So,
That comes to your, although I try to avoid it, but to your father. When he started, it was for him as well hard to sell his songs.
Absolutely.
And now you grow up in the shadow of an icon of a mountain and country and Americana. Did you find it hard to find yourself, your own expressions without Daddy?
Well, I don't call him Daddy usually. Well,
sorry.
That's okay. My father has been an incredible influence on me and an inspiration. And I'm a part of a new generation. I've grown up. He's quite a bit older than me. He's 84 years old, and I'm 28. And so we live in different worlds musically. All I know is that I've practiced every single day since I was a child, like an Olympic athlete. And I know that my band is good enough to stand on its own. And my band, my music, my songs connect with people. I get people every day that write me and say that my music has changed their life in a way that is profound and interesting and healing. And so it doesn't matter what came before, it only matters what is coming now. And what's coming now is my own influence and my own art, and I appreciate my father's inspiration, and my father and I are very close. And so,
did you want to become better than your father? Because I know this from my son. He's always trying to be better.
No, I didn't. I wasn't thinking about becoming better. In fact, with my father, I was thinking about Nothing. I was thinking about just the fact that I am my own human being, and I need to, if I want to be able to make a living playing music and doing this thing that we're blessed to be doing in the first place. I mean, what a blessed thing to be able to go and play music and make money doing that. Then I just need to practice, and I need to get good enough in order to be able to have a career playing music. Just like a professional athlete. You know, when a professional athlete is and there is a certain degree of, well, my father broke this record. Is if you're a track runner, you're running track, and your father was a brilliant track runner, maybe went to the Olympics and won a bunch of gold medals. You want to at least win as many gold medals as your father did, and maybe break a record or two like he did. And so, in a way, I would like to carry on the level of success, perhaps, that my father has had. But it's a matter of being driven to practice, and I'm not thinking about the outcome. I'm only thinking about building the skill set. You know.
Do you find it hard nowadays to have your own little box? Because everybody's talking about either Americana or country or indie or whatever. What would you say? What kind of music are you doing? To me, it's songs.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I don't think about that either. When you're trying to label music and you're trying to figure out what to call it, with all due respect, that's your job as a journalist and as a writer. My job is just to write music and play it, and perform it and record it, and that's all I need to do. I don't need to worry about what it's called. I don't need to worry about what type of music I play. That's a job for a journalist or somebody who's actually writing down and
I'm lazy. I'm lazy, so I'm the musician.
No, I'm not going to give it to you. You can take it.
Would you say you're a topical writer?
A topical writer? What do you mean?
With a little bit of politics inside of your verses and texts and lines? Art
is a reflection of the world around us. And so even within my expression, I am influenced by events that happen to me, and sometimes those things come out in my writing because of that's the way I'm feeling. If I'm going to be authentic in what I'm doing, if I'm going to be real, then I have to, I can't pretend that I don't feel a certain way, and I can't stop writing or not write because of some sort of fear of being topical, like you say. So I'm not deliberately writing topically, but I do happen to sometimes write about something that's happening in the world, and so that can tend to get political, I guess.
When you look at the music surrounding you, let's say the Americana side and the country side in wider terms, are you fed up sometimes with what's happening, like people looking into the pop side and trying to get into the adult pop charts and not sticking to their own roots, like you, what I presume that you do?
Well, no, I'm not worried about what anybody else is doing necessarily. I'm not worried about. I'm not thinking, oh well, I wish he was doing this or I wish he was doing that. No, I'm just saying, okay, I know what I want to do, because that's the only thing I can control in my life is what I do. Otherwise, I get frustrated every day. If I were worried about what the music industry was doing at this point, I'd look at it and get sad, because, you know, I do see a lot of that, but I don't worry about that. I can only worry about myself. And actually, when somebody else is doing what they love, whether it's pop music or really well-written hip-hop music and rap or electronic music that I find inspiring, you know, it doesn't matter. That makes me happy. It's just when people do it. It's just when people do it because they feel like they have to in order to make it in the world of music. That makes me sad.
Is there any kind of music you can't stand at all?
No, there's no music that I can't stand at all. There's always something I can find in some type of music that I love, and it all has to do with the inspiration and the passion that the artist puts into that music. You know, I can tell if somebody really spent a lot of time working on their craft, no matter what they are doing. You know, what type of music they're playing.
How do a song comes up? Do you wake up in the middle of the night and say, "Oh, I've got the line"?
Sometimes it happens very much like that. Yes.
And while traveling, or are you writing?
Yes, I wrote a song last night. I was up till 6 in the morning because I wanted to watch the baseball game. And so I got that on my phone. The Dodgers,
the Yankees,
Dodgers and the Cubs. Yeah. So the Dodgers are going to the World Series, and then the Astros and the Yankees are now battling for the World Series at the moment. So that was all night because it started at 1 in the morning. But luckily, my jet lag makes me able to watch the game.
By the way, because I really don't know, on the record I only got the digital copy. It's Lukas. Is that the two girls?
They're amazing. They're an amazing band themselves, and they've also been touring with Roger Waters.
Yeah.
And
I know. I wasn't sure if it's these.
And then Lady Gaga is singing on "Find Yourself." And
really?
Yeah. So Lady Gaga.
It's not written in this digital copies.
Well, it's you know it's.
Press release.
Yeah. Exactly.
I saw Lady Gaga yesterday on American Horror Story.
Oh, right. So she sang on "Find Yourself" and on "Carolina." Her and I are good friends because we've been working on this movie together called "A Star Is Born," which is a remake of a movie, "A Star Is Born,"
I know.
With Barbra Streisand and Christopherson, and it's with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. So Bradley Cooper saw me with Neil Young, because we're also Neil Young's band, at Desert Trip, which was a show with us as Neil's band, Paul McCartney, the Rolling Stones, Bob Dylan, The Who, and Roger Waters. That's where we met Lukas. And so Bradley Cooper, the actor, saw us play and then reached out and said, "I want Lukas to consult me on how to look authentic as a rock and roll star and a country star or so in the movie." And so I started working with him and helping him develop as that, and then we met Lady Gaga there, and Lady Gaga came and we started writing together, her and I. So I wrote a bunch of songs with her for the movie, and then on my own for the movie, and then eventually my band, Promise of the Real, became actors in the movie, so we became his band, and so that's very exciting. And then and so that comes out in May, and then we've got our record out in the moment, and then we've got I've just finished a record that just came out today with my dad, my father, Willie and the boys, my brother and I, Micah. Have a record out that's got some original music on there, and then it's got some old covers that we did together. And then we finished a record with Neil Young that'll come out sometime later in the year. I don't know when. And then we might go on tour with him later in the summer.
Any free time?
No free time. No free time. But it's hard to, it's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of good things happening in the career, and so, it's nice. This record that we just put out, Promise of the Real, it's got a lot of great songs on it, and it's doing pretty well in the United States. Huh?
You're still singing songs like crazy.
I am?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes I'll sing...
that was joking.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Would you say, no, it's hard to say. Well, do it the other way around. You were born in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I was born in Texas.
Texas? But you were brought up in Hawaii, something.
Yeah, I was.
That's what I read in the
Okay,
bio.
I was born in in Texas, but then I moved to Hawaii when I was about 10 years old. My dad has had a house there since 1978, so I'd go back and forth there. But we were on the road most of the time when I was a kid, anyways.
Did you travel around with your dad?
Yes. I traveled around. My first memories were with the Highwaymen, which was Johnny Cash and Christopherson and Dad and Waylon.
Do you feel more safe on a horse or on a board?
I probably feel safer on a horse. I don't know. I like surfing too, so I surf and I ride horses. Actually, I'm probably more safe on a surfboard these days. It's been a while since I've ridden a horse.
If there would be a little fairy who would grant you a wish, any wish you have,
Yeah.
what would that be?
Any wish I have.
Any wish would come true. So square, crazy, whatever you think of.
I wish that I would love to be able to I'd love to be able to just be in touch with the people that I love forever when I want to, you know? To the people that love me, that I love, I'd like to be able to, at a moment's notice, be able to see their face and touch their face and hold them and be close to them. And even if they're not on this planet anymore, you know, I'd like to be able to just be next to them and spend time with them at any time and have it really be them. That'd be nice.
Is there a musician you would like to play with, or would have liked to play with, even if he's dead? Any musician?
Yeah. I was really bummed Tom Petty died. I was looking, I felt like we could relate musically in the same way that Neil and I related musically. They were perhaps a little different, but...
So keep the promises.
Yeah.
Keep your promises.
Yeah, well, I think I am.
Well, thanks a lot for the interview.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.